Hello, everybody. I am Jeremy Miller with Conscious Recovery, and I'm here with TJ Sachdev and Byron Williams with Discovery Behavioral Health. Thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
So, TJ, I want to start with you and start with what your initial draw to conscious recovery was and what your experience was when you learned about conscious recovery and everything that it is.
Yeah, I was introduced to conscious recovery, I think 2018, and it was a time in my recovery where I felt like the universe was delivering something so perfect. And I talk about my personal recovery because it has defined who I am today. And at that time, I was looking for something more. And when I heard TJ Woodward speak for the first time, I think it was at like a networking event. At the time, I was working for another company. Something clicked for me. And it was this idea that we are born whole and perfect. And at that moment, I instantly felt a sigh of relief. I felt acceptance, and I felt like everything was going to be okay. And as I delved deeper into his work in conscious recovery, a lot just connected. And at that time, to do the deep work around being authentic and like talking about toxic shame in a space that was so safe was so important for me. And since then, it's just been this like growth trajectory of like, I look at myself now and I like don't even know who I am in anymore, like in a good way. Like I've grown so much. And yeah, it's been this like profound understanding of knowing who I am and like giving myself grace and compassion around like it's okay to have flaws. It's okay that my upbringing was such that wasn't perfect. And like you get to reinvent yourself and you get to do this like deep healing of your past that no longer defines who you are. And so that's been super important for me. And today, like I feel so much more aligned in the work that I do at Discovery Behavioral Health, both personally and professionally. So I'm just ever so grateful for TJ's work.
Wow, thank you so much. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
And Byron, I know that you've recently been introduced to conscious recovery. And so I'm wondering what your experience was, because I believe your first introduction to it was in the 2-day training with TJ. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what was that experience like, and what did it create within?
Whew, a lot. So it's really interesting to look at all of the new growth opportunities that I've had internally. But before I was even introduced to conscious recovery, I was in a position to where I felt kind of stagnant. So I haven't been in treatment in 8 years. However, I have not been sober for 8 years. And I tell people this whenever I talk about conscious recovery because I had this really visceral reaction to hearing conscious recovery to begin with. Solely because like I love my big book. I love my big book so much. I love everything that it's given me. But experience has also shown me that I've fallen into the trap of this is the only solution to wellness. And when I was presented with conscious recovery, it was hard for me to open up my mind to anything else. But as I sat in that training, and I'm seeing TJ's face right now because I was very interactive and I was very vocal about what I was feeling and how I felt going into it. I felt like I was in treatment again, but in the best ways. It was almost like a recharge. And what I love so much about it is when I started to realize this wasn't anything that would replace what's like the foundation that like my growth has been, laid on, I started to realize that it was just a really beautiful clinical modality that I could use in conjunction with the 12 steps. And the interesting thing about it is it's cautioned me to really look at how shaming I can be in my verbiage, not only to myself, but the men and women I work with in AA. Now, in terms of the training, it was so funny and it was so interesting how my MO is to not invite what's uncomfortable. Even though like growth comes from uncomfortability, my MO is also to build upon the brokenness, and start in the brokenness and go up. And what I've learned in conscious recovery is you start with the wholeness and you go up. So that's been really interesting to me, especially when I'm talking to myself.
That's beautiful,
Love
Byron. Thank you. And I love that both of you spoke first to how it shifted for you personally. And I think that part of the brilliance of conscious recovery when we do the trainings and events is that as professionals, we get to pause for a moment, go within and see what's being activated, see what's coming up, and work with it in a really refreshing way. And so TJ, as someone who's worked at multiple programs now, who've integrated conscious recovery, what has your experience been like as a professional, seeing it being integrated within the team?
Yeah. Well, within the teams at the treatment centers, it's the most beautiful thing to watch. It's so beautiful to watch people connect to the curriculum, but more importantly, connect to themselves. TJ talks a lot about doing the healing yourself so that we can be of service to the clients. And I saw it at New Hope Ranch most recently, and I was brought to tears, to see everyone from the maintenance staff to clinical director to us outreach representatives getting to participate in it. But also on the other end, the professionals within the industry, like us outreach folks. And it's, I do feel a authentic shift happening in our industry. We're on the cusp of it right now. And to watch in today's event, people just really relate to it and saying, hey, we need this right now. We're yearning for something new for ourselves personally, but also for our clients. So again, just so beautiful to watch. And over the years to see you blossom in your role and to know you both personally and professionally and to see conscious recovery just take off. I'm just so excited, just so excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's been one of my favorite things is being able to see the people who started, like Jen Carvalho, as an early adopter of conscious recovery and seeing it just growing, not just within the clinical teams, but with the clients and the staff. I mean, in most of the trainings, we have everyone from maintenance to, to clinical to the grounds. I mean, everybody's there. And I think one of the really powerful things that we've seen lately is how it brings the team closer together.
Yeah.
And Byron, I know that you hadn't had much time with the team at New Hope Ranch, and I'm wondering what that training did for you as part of the team and, joining them for the training for the first time. What'd that feel like?
So my experience that I just described, I didn't know anyone there. What it sounded like was a lot of people didn't know each other there, and they saw each other every single day. That opened up the gate for me a lot in terms of just comfortability, to be authentic with everybody. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I felt a shift energetically by the end of the day. There were tears. There were the covenants between one another to say, hey, what's said here stays here, which is huge, absolutely huge, because you hear that often, and it's often not honored.
Looking to the future as individuals and professionals that have been working with conscious recovery and are new to conscious recovery, what gets you excited about the future? TJ, we'll start with you.
Yeah, the excitement is in that it's ever evolving, right? We have to stay fluid with everything happening in the world, with us personally, in our relationships, and our family, and just to stay open-minded. I think that's the fresh perspective for me right now. If I learned anything in this last year is just to stay open, stay in acceptance, and conscious recovery aligns with everything that I believe at my core, and that's what keeps me motivated and keeps me going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Byron, what about you?
It's really short and sweet, but I just think it's a wave of compassion that we're able to provide to the industry right now where we lack. That's the only thing I can really think of, yeah.
That's huge.
That's
big. Well, I want to thank you both so much for all of your engagement with conscious recovery, for this conversation today. And I know that TJ and I are very excited to continue this amazing collaboration we have with you as individuals and with Discovery Behavioral Health as a whole. So thank you both very much.
Thank you. Awesome.